Howdy, we will be discussing childhood obesity. Our group members are Marari, Emily, and Melissa. We will be defining obesity and discussing healthy eating and exercise habits, and how to implement those at school and home. Here's a video clip from 2014 on CBS News about childhood obesity.
In our morning rounds, kids and weight. A new study this morning says the road to obesity starts before the age of 5, to emphasize that. Research in the New England Journal of Medicine finds that overweight kindergartners are 4 times as likely to become obese by the 8th grade. Dr. Diane Hess is a pediatrician specializing in childhood obesity. Good to see you, Diane Hess.
Welcome
back.
Thank you.
Just the word obese and children should not go together.
Yeah,
So
it's frightening.
It is. It's very scary to me. So what does this study mean exactly? We should start very early feeding them, right?
Yes. So what this study shows is that when you bring a child in who's 7, 8, or 15, it's already almost too late. You want to make an early intervention. This study shows that overweight kindergartners were 4 times as likely to be obese adolescents in this study, which was about 8,000 children.
What's the definition of obesity for a child?
So we start measuring body mass index after age 2 in children. So we have a tool that we use. It's weight over meters squared. And we plot a child's weight and height on these curves, and they're standardized curves set by the CDC. And if a child is 85th percentile or greater, that's overweight. And if they're 95th percentile or over, that's considered obese.
Doctor, I think, you hear, and I have young children, and people say, oh, it's baby fat. When is it no longer baby fat?
Well, when they're 5, it's no longer baby fat. So you can be a very chubby infant. I have breastfed babies who are off of the curve, but they're only feeding breast milk and they're doing great. And then when they start walking and crawling, they start burning it off. But when you're 5 and you're off of the chart, or you're over the 95th percentile for body mass index, that's not baby fat anymore. And it's very cultural. So people take it very they're very sensitive about it.
And on that note, then, how important is it to begin a healthy diet at what age? It's birth. It's the first solid foods that get into their mouth,
exactly.
right?
And a big thing is not starting solid foods too early. So the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends waiting till 6 months if you're breastfed to start solids, and if you're not breastfed, after 4 months. But giving them healthy, non-processed foods, not giving them juice, low-fat milk after the age 2, very important.
When we began, I asked you about how much of this was genetic and how much of it was environmental. Are there other things other than food that affect obesity?
Absolutely. Well, lack of exercise. Yeah. So we have kids who live in unsafe neighborhoods, who can't ride their bikes after school. For New York City, for example, in public schools, you only have 45 minutes of gym in a week. And children need 1 hour of exercise a day. So it's really getting them out there, getting to YMCAs, to the Boys and Girls Club, getting them after school where they can exercise in safe places or exercise at home, keeping them off of the TV, limiting screen time, keeping them moving.
Yeah, really. To parents.
Yeah, very important message. Dr. Diane Hess, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Hi, my name is Emily. The book and the video both define obesity as being at or above the 95th percentile on the BMI chart. Here are pictures of BMI charts for boys and girls ages 2 to 20 from the CDC website. Now I will be discussing some facts about healthy eating. Parents and children should be aware of how and what they choose for their children to eat. A lot of times it's easier to pick fast food, and we rely on it because it's quick and easy. Unfortunately, these foods are high in fat and sugar. Another bad choice that parents tend to make is giving their kids a lot of juice. The book and the video both mention that juice has a lot of sugar, and having whole fruit is a much better choice. There are big risk factors for children who are obese. It can lead to heart disease, high cholesterol, and high blood pressure. Being obese can also give children psychological problems. Obesity also leads to diabetes. If students are exposed to healthy food options, they're a lot more likely to choose them. They can be exposed to them at both home and school. Parents and culture are the biggest impacts on food choices at home. Culture affects the type of food choices that you will eat. The American culture tends to rely on fast food. Even the First Lady, Michelle Obama, says that she tends to do that and has had to learn to pace her lifestyle to feed her children healthier food. Parents are role models for their children on what they choose to feed them and encouraging them to make good, healthy choices. Parents should not completely ban unhealthy foods. They can be given as special treats. If they completely ban it, children will want to eat them even more. Michelle Obama says she even loves burgers, fries, cookies, and cakes, so of course kids will want to eat them too. It's important to incorporate them into your diet, but with modesty.
Hi, my name is Mirati, and I'm going to be talking about how healthy eating habits correlate with school. The first thing we read about was something called the toy box intervention. In the toy box intervention, teachers are educated into what healthy eating habits are and how to promote them to their students. Something else they try to do is they try to really let teachers know how much of an influence they have on their students, and that influence can help them not only in school but also into leading healthier lives. In addition to interventions, schools have also begun to cut out sugary drinks from vending machines and from lunchtime or snack times in general. In the long run, interventions and eliminating sugary drinks and snacks will help students because research has shown that students who eat better will perform better in the classroom. Now I'm going to talk about exercise. Exercise is an important part in preventing obesity because it can lower the risk of children developing diseases later on in life, such as cardiovascular disease and diabetes. Exercise can also improve a child's gross motor skills. This can lead to a healthy development in a child. In addition to leading a healthier life, students can also improve their social skills by participating in sports and organized activities.
Okay, well. Howdy, I'm Melissa. I'm just going to talk about implementing exercise in the home and why it's so important. So a lot of it starts with the parents. Parents need to encourage their children to engage in physical activity by taking them to boys and girls clubs or enlisting them in sports. I also think sports are good because, first of all, you can get friends and you can just like build a community that will make working out fun. So you're not looking at it as a chore. You're doing fun in getting exercise with that. One thing I think is really important is limiting screen time. I know for me, like a lot of my life is spent in front of the screen, whether it's my phone, my iPad, or my laptop, or the TV, like there's always a screen. It's really important to limit that screen time. Take the computer away, take the video games away. It needs to be, according to Lanier, it needs to be less than 2 hours a day. So rather than having them sit around on the couch, why don't you take them to do something physical? You know, you could take them ice skating, you could take them to the park. There's many things you could do. Now, I also want to talk about incorporating it in the school. I know growing up for me, I did a lot of exercise in PE classes, but apparently they're trying to cut back on that. And that is not good because according to the CDC, an adequate amount of exercise can improve a child's performance in the classroom. So not only is exercise good for your body, but it's also good for your concentration, your attentiveness, and your academic achievement. So one last thing I want to say about implementing exercise in the school is I like one of the articles I found. Lanier talks about how the teacher should be the change. So as a teacher, you're like a model for the children. So if you eat smart and move more, the kids are more likely to follow you and do that action as well. So just as a teacher, it's good to be up and moving around with the kids, not just having them be stationary at their desk, you at their desk all day. We need to incorporate movement in the classroom. So to conclude things about childhood obesity, a lot of it is not black and white. It's not just, oh, I eat well, so I don't need to work out, or, oh, I worked out so I can eat junk food. It's a lifestyle commitment. The textbook says how lifestyle is the most likely and most important contributor to overweight and obesity. So there's a lot that plays into it. You can't just pick one. It's a whole lifestyle thing. You have to just be good to your body. And it's not so easy when we have so many options of eating junk food, watching TV, taking the easy way out, and making the instant food rather than actually preparing fresh food. but it's just a commitment you have to make if you want a lifestyle of being healthy and eating right. So we need to be implementing these facts and techniques into the children as early as possible, because if they learn at the beginning, they're more likely to carry it on with them forever. Also, we don't want to just target children who are already obese with eating right and exercising. It needs to start early for everyone.